Always pass on what you have learned.
What if Yoda arrived just moments before Obi-Wan's final strike? What if instead of burning in hatred, Anakin found hope again? This is a story of how one choice, one moment, could have changed the entire fate of the galaxy. In this alternate timeline, Master Yoda senses the dark pull of destiny and rushes to Mustafar, where Anakin Skywalker has already turned into Darth Vader. But instead of fighting him, Yoda does something no one expects. He tries to save him. Through wisdom, the Force, and compassion, Yoda reaches the last spark of light still burning inside Anakin. What happens next will change the Star Wars universe forever. The fire burned bright on the planet Mustafar. Dark smoke rose into the sky. Anakin stood on the black rocks, his eyes full of anger and pain. He had turned against his friends. He believed the dark side would save Padme. But deep inside, he was lost. Far away, Yoda sat in silence. He felt a terrible pain through the Force. He saw a vision of Anakin falling into darkness. Without wasting a moment, Yoda flew to Mustafar. He knew he might be too late, but hope still lived in his heart. When Yoda arrived, the air was thick with heat. He saw Anakin standing near the lava river, fire all around him. Anakin turned and shouted, "You should not have come, Master." But Yoda did not raise his lightsaber. He looked at Anakin with sadness, not hate. "Much anger I sense in you," Yoda said softly. "Yet light still there is." Anakin's hand shook. He wanted to fight, but Yoda's calm voice made him pause. "Leave me alone." Anakin yelled, "Padme is gone. I have nothing." Yoda stepped closer. "No, Skywalker. Still something you have. Hope." For a moment, Anakin's eyes changed. He saw flashes of Padme's smile, of Obi-Wan, of his children not yet born. He dropped to his knees, tears mixing with ash. The dark side whispered in his mind, but Yoda's words grew louder. "Let go of hate," Yoda said. "Let the Force heal you." Anakin screamed, torn between two worlds, the light and the dark. The ground shook and lava burst around them. But Yoda placed his hand on Anakin's head. Through the Force, he showed him a vision of peace, of what could still be saved. Anakin's anger broke. He threw his lightsaber into the lava. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I was wrong." Yoda helped him stand. "Strong in the Force you are," Yoda said. "But strength without love means nothing." They walked slowly toward Yoda's ship as the lava roared behind them. For the first time in years, Anakin felt light inside his heart again. The galaxy would never be the same, because Yoda had saved a man who was once the chosen one. The planet Mustafar burned like a living storm. Lava rivers flowed across black rocks, and the heat made the air tremble. Anakin stood at the edge of a cliff, his heart full of anger and fear. He believed power could save the people he loved, but now, everything was falling apart. Far away, Yoda sat in meditation. He felt the pain of the Force twisting inside him. He saw a vision, Anakin, lost in darkness, standing in fire. Without waiting, Yoda opened his eyes and said quietly, "Too late, it may not be." He climbed into his ship and set a course for Mustafar. The closer Yoda came, the heavier the air felt. He could feel Anakin's rage like thunder. When he landed, the ground shook beneath him. He walked carefully, leaning on his cane, his eyes filled with sadness. Anakin turned as Yoda approached. "Master Yoda," he said coldly, "you should have stayed away." His voice carried pain, but also confusion. Yoda looked at him gently. "Skywalker, fallen you are, but lost you are not." Anakin's lightsaber blazed red. He shouted, "You don't understand. The dark side gives me power. I can save her." Yoda shook his head. "Save her. You cannot, by losing yourself." Anakin stepped closer, shaking with fury. But Yoda did not fight. He simply stood still, his small frame calm in the storm. The silence between them grew heavy. Then Yoda spoke again. "Fear of loss is your cage, young one. Let it go." Anakin froze. The words echoed inside him like a memory from long ago. He saw Padme's face, peaceful and kind. He saw Obi-Wan's eyes filled with disappointment and love. He felt the pain of all he had destroyed. Tears rolled down his face. His lightsaber slipped from his hand and fell into the lava below. The red glow faded. Yoda walked closer and placed a hand on his arm. Still hope there is, Skywalker. Anakin looked at him, broken but breathing again. I don't deserve it, he whispered. Yoda answered softly. Deserve it? None of us do. But forgive we must. Together. They turned away from the fire, leaving behind the ashes of the man Anakin once was, and walking toward a light that still waited for him. The air on Mustafar was thick with smoke and fire. Lava rivers glowed like molten veins, spreading across the dark ground. Anakin stood alone, his heart beating fast, his mind filled with voices of anger and guilt. He had done terrible things, yet he told himself it was all for love. But now, even love felt far away, far from the flames. Yoda sat in deep meditation. He felt the darkness growing stronger. Through the Force he saw flashes, Padme's tears, Obi-Wan's pain, and Anakin's fall. He opened his eyes slowly and whispered, Save him, I must try. Without delay, he flew his small ship into the fire clouds of Mustafar. When Yoda arrived, the ground shook beneath his feet. The air burned his lungs, but his spirit stayed calm. He walked toward the black platform where Anakin stood, staring into the lava below. The young man turned sharply. Why are you here, Master? Anakin shouted. You can't stop me. Yoda looked up at him with sad eyes. Stop you? No. Save you, I wish to. Anakin's voice broke. There's nothing left to save. Padme is gone. I destroyed everything. Yoda took another step closer. Destroyed, not all is. Light still there is, inside you. Anakin's hand trembled as he held his red lightsaber. The glow reflected in his wet eyes. He remembered his mother's face, his old friend Obi-Wan, and the promise he made long ago to protect, not to destroy. The dark side whispered again in his mind, but this time he pushed it away. He fell to his knees, shaking. I can't do this, Master. I'm too far gone. Yoda placed his hand gently on Anakin's shoulder. Too far, no one ever is. The ground rumbled as lava exploded nearby. The two stood in the glowing heat, surrounded by destruction but filled with strange peace. Anakin dropped his weapon. The red blade disappeared into the flames. He looked at Yoda, tears falling freely now. Help me, Master, he said softly. Yoda nodded. Help yourself. You already have, my friend. Together they walked toward Yoda's ship, leaving the burning world behind, and stepping toward the light once more. The sky above Mustafar burned red, like a storm of fire. Rivers of lava moved slowly across the land, lighting up the darkness. Anakin stood at the edge of a platform, his face hard, his heart full of pain. He had lost Padme, his master, and the Jedi. He believed there was no way back. Far away, Yoda sat in silence. He felt the ripples of darkness spreading through the Force. He saw the image of Anakin falling deeper into hate. Yoda took a deep breath. He whispered, Lost, the boy is not yet. He climbed into a small ship and flew toward Mustafar. The stars passed by like silver dust, and Yoda's heart grew heavy. He had seen many wars, many deaths, but this one hurt most, the fall of the Chosen One. When Yoda landed, the ground shook. The heat hit his face, but he walked forward, steady and calm. He saw Anakin standing on the cliff, staring into the lava. Anakin turned, eyes red from anger and smoke. Master Yoda, he said, his voice low and rough. You came to destroy me too? Yoda shook his head. No, Skywalker. To destroy, I do not come. To save, I must try. Anakin laughed, bitterly. Save me? It's too late. I killed everyone. I betrayed everything. His voice cracked as he spoke. Yoda's eyes softened. Still, inside you, light remains. Small but strong. Anakin stepped back. His lightsaber hummed in his hand. I can't go back, he said. I don't deserve peace. Peace, Yoda said softly, comes not from the past, but from choice. The words hit Anakin deep inside. He remembered the days when he trained as a boy, when he dreamed of becoming a great Jedi. He saw Padme smile, heard Obi-Wan's voice calling him brother. The anger began to fade. His hand dropped, and his weapon fell into the lava below. He fell to his knees, shaking, tears cutting through the soot on his face. Yoda walked closer and placed a small green hand on Anakin's arm. "Rise, Skywalker," he said. "Begin again, you can—" Anakin looked at him with tired eyes and nodded slowly. Together, they turned toward Yoda's ship as the firelight faded behind them, leaving darkness and a new hope in their wake. The planet Mustafar burned with endless fire. Lava poured down like rivers of light, and the sky glowed with smoke and ash. Anakin stood alone on the metal platform, staring into the fire. His heart was heavy with anger, guilt, and loss. He thought he had done everything to save Padme, but now she was gone. He had nothing left, only pain. Far away, Yoda sat in quiet meditation. He felt the storm of the Force, wild and full of sorrow. He saw visions of Anakin, the chosen one, burning with hate. Yoda's heart ached, but he still believed there was hope. He opened his eyes and whispered, "One more try, I will." Yoda guided his small ship through the dark clouds of Mustafar. When he landed, the ground trembled and fire crackled around him. He saw Anakin standing in the distance, his cape waving in the hot wind. The young man turned, eyes glowing yellow like fire. "Master Yoda," he said coldly, "you shouldn't have come." Yoda looked up at him. "Come, I must save you. I will try." Anakin's face twisted in anger. "Save me? You can't. I destroyed everything. Padme, the Jedi, all gone because of me." His voice broke as he shouted. Yoda took a slow step forward. "Gone, not all is. Lost, you think you are. But lost you are not." Anakin's hands shook. He wanted to fight, but his heart was tired. He looked at his red lightsaber and saw his reflection, scared, broken, and alone. For the first time, he felt shame. Yoda reached out his hand. "Skywalker, let go. Let the Force heal you." Anakin closed his eyes. He saw Padme smiling. He saw Obi-Wan's kind face. He saw the man he used to be. Tears rolled down his cheeks. He dropped his lightsaber. It fell into the lava with a soft hiss. "I don't want to be this monster anymore," he whispered. Yoda placed a small hand on Anakin's shoulder. "Then no more monster, you are." Together, they turned away from the fire. Each step was heavy, but the darkness began to fade. In that moment, the galaxy's hope was reborn, because Yoda had saved not just a warrior, but a soul. The fire on Mustafar burned brighter than the stars above. Lava rolled like a living sea, sending waves of heat into the air. Anakin stood at the edge of the platform, his eyes glowing with anger and pain. He could hear the sound of his own breath inside his helmet, loud and heavy. He thought he had done everything for love, but love had turned into hate. Far away, Yoda sat still, eyes closed, feeling the disturbance in the Force. He saw Anakin's future, a man trapped in darkness, broken and alone. Yoda's heart felt heavy, yet he refused to give up. He whispered, "Save him, I still can." The old Jedi Master flew through the burning clouds and landed his small ship on Mustafar. Ash rained down like snow. The heat was fierce, but Yoda walked calmly, guided by the Force. He saw Anakin in the distance, standing in the red glow of the lava. "Skywalker," Yoda called out softly. Anakin turned, his voice cold. "You're too late, Master. I've made my choice." Yoda looked at him with calm eyes. "A choice, yes, but change, still possible it is." Anakin laughed bitterly. "I killed the Master. I betrayed everything I swore to protect." His voice cracked, filled with pain. Yoda stepped closer. "Wrong you were, yes, but gone. The light is not. Still it calls to you." Anakin raised his red lightsaber. "I can't go back," he said. "There's nothing left for me." Yoda didn't move. He simply said, "Then let me carry hope for you." The word struck something deep inside Anakin. He remembered Padme's gentle voice, Obi-Wan's smile, and the dream he once had, to bring peace, not pain. His hands began to tremble. The lightsaber hummed, then went dark. Anakin fell to his knees, his tears mixing with the ash on his face. "I don't know who I am anymore," he whispered. Yoda walked closer and placed a small hand on Anakin's shoulder. Who you are, you decide now. Anakin looked up, his eyes no longer red, but full of sorrow and light. He took Yoda's hand, and together they walked toward the ship. Behind them, the lava still burned, but ahead of them, a new beginning waited. Quiet, pure, and full of hope. The sky of Mustafar glowed red, like burning metal. The air was thick with smoke, and every breath felt heavy. Anakin stood near the edge of a river of lava, his body shaking, his heart full of anger and regret. He had lost everything. Padme, Obi-Wan, the Jedi, and even himself. The sound of fire was the only thing that answered his thoughts. Far away, Yoda sat in quiet meditation. He could feel the pain through the Force. It was strong, full of sadness and fear. He saw Anakin's face in his mind, not as Darth Vader, but as the boy who once called him Master. Yoda opened his eyes and whispered, "Try, I must." Lost he is not yet. Yoda guided a small ship through the burning clouds of Mustafar. When he landed, the ground shook under his feet. The heat was like a wave, but he walked forward, calm and slow. Through the smoke, he saw Anakin standing alone. "Skywalker," Yoda said softly. Anakin turned, his face hard. "Why are you here, old man?" he shouted. "It's over. You can't save me." Yoda's voice was gentle. "Save you, I cannot. But help you, I can." Anakin's hands trembled. He lifted his red lightsaber, ready to fight. But Yoda did not move. He only said, "Fight me, you wish, but fight yourself, you are." The words hit deep. Anakin froze. He remembered Padme's voice. Yoda called softly. Anakin turned, his voice cold. "Why are you here, Master? You've already lost." Yoda looked at him calmly. "Lost, I have not. Found, perhaps you can be." Anakin laughed bitterly. "You can't save me. I've done terrible things. There's no way back." Yoda shook his head. "Way back. Always there is. Choose, you must." Anakin gripped his red lightsaber. "You don't understand. I did everything for love, and now love is gone." Yoda took a slow step. Closer. "Love never gone is. Only hidden." Anakin's hand trembled. He looked into Yoda's eyes and saw no hate, only deep sadness and care. Something inside him began to break. The memories of Padme, Obi-Wan, and the boy he once was came rushing back. "I failed them," Anakin whispered. Yoda nodded softly. "Failed, yes. But rise again you can." Anakin dropped his lightsaber. It fell into the lava, and the red light disappeared. He fell to his knees, breathing hard. "I don't want this darkness anymore," he said quietly. Yoda placed his hand on Anakin's shoulder. "Then leave it behind, you must." They turned away from the fire. Each step was heavy, but the Force felt lighter now. In the middle of all that burning, a small peace began to grow. The world of Mustafar burned like a sea of red fire. The heat rose from the lava, and the air shimmered like glass. Anakin stood alone on the black rock, staring at the endless flames. His face was filled with anger, fear, and deep sadness. He had lost everything he loved. Padme was gone. The Jedi were gone. And now, all that remained inside him was darkness. Far away, Yoda sat in quiet meditation. The Force whispered to him, carrying the sound of suffering. He could feel Anakin's pain calling out, faint but alive. Yoda's small eyes opened slowly. "Gone, he is not," Yoda said softly. "Help him. I still can." His ship flew across the stars, heading for the burning planet. When he arrived, the sky glowed with fire, and the ground shook with every step. He could sense Anakin nearby, full of confusion and hate. Still, Yoda's heart was calm. He followed the path until he saw him, the boy he once trained, now standing in fire. "Skywalker," Yoda said gently. Anakin turned sharply, his red lightsaber in hand. "Don't come closer," he shouted. "It's too late for me." Yoda looked at him with sadness. "Too late. Never it is. Always a choice. There is." Anakin's eyes flickered. He remembered Obi-Wan, the Jedi Temple, and Padme's soft voice. The memories hurt more than the flames around him. He screamed, "I tried to save them. I tried to stop the pain. Yoda stepped closer. Pain, par life it is. But control you it must not. Anakin's breathing grew heavy. He looked at his lightsaber, the weapon that had taken so many lives, and felt shame. His hands began to shake. He dropped it, letting it fall into the lava below. Tears rolled down his face. I don't know who I am anymore, he whispered. Yoda placed a small green hand on his shoulder. Who you are, the Force still knows, Yoda said softly. Anakin closed his eyes. The anger faded, and for the first time, peace touched his heart. He followed Yoda toward the ship, leaving behind the fire, the hate, and the name Vader. Only Anakin Skywalker walked away that day, reborn in the light.